Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Overwatch All-Star Brawl 7. We are jumping right into it with an incredible losers bracket matchup tonight. Match number 5 down in the lower bracket. We got Death Computer taking on Hot Streak. I'm incredibly excited for this one. I think these two teams are both very capable of making a lower bracket run through this tournament. I am Shy Guy, joined tonight by Dividing by Zero as we take on this matchup. I think this is really going to be a fascinating matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, I think it's a very deceiving matchup for sure, because we have a team like Hot Streak that has been around in the Overwatch scene for a very long time. It feels like people like Frosted and Micro, who've been playing on this team the whole time, have been around the tier 3, tier 2 scene for as long as I can remember, honestly. And then we have a team like Death Computer that only formed a couple of months ago and hasn't really hit that level of notoriety that Hot Streak has up to this point, but they've definitely been turning heads over the last couple of months.
No, for sure. This is definitely a team that still has like a lot to prove and a lot of like room for improvement themselves, and going up against as you mentioned, a team that's been together for quite a long time. This is going to be a challenge for them for sure. As I think a lot of people might be surprised to see Hot Streak here in the lower bracket at all. But that is just kind of what tends to happen. They ran up against Bear Claw in the upper bracket earlier on in the tournament. We're not able to overcome that, but since then they've been playing pretty well. We're able to take down Shikigami in the first round of the losers bracket. And now we'll see if they're able to deal with Death Computer as well, who themselves are in kind of a similar situation, coming off of a pretty dominant win 3-0 over Regen in that first round of the lower bracket. So yeah, they've got some momentum behind them, and I think they'll be feeling confident coming into this one.
And then, on the other side, Hot Streak just barely escaped from their first round losers matchup. It was a 5-map series against Shikigami. Hot Streak just barely lives to survive another round of the losers bracket. And I think it does have to be mentioned that this roster is I'm not sure the optimal one for Hot Streak. It's definitely, they have multiple ringers, right? You have Lava coming in on main tank for this team instead of Faded, who we expect to see in that role. Lep is going to be coming in on main support instead of someone like, or maybe off support instead of someone like maybe Big Mouth or something like that. Definitely two extremely qualified and experienced players, but maybe people who haven't been playing with this group quite as much over the last little bit of time, and therefore might have a little bit of trouble. And who knows if maybe Death Computer can capitalize on that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and as that, like, looking at that main tank position, especially, like, Faded to me is kind of the centerpiece of this Hot Streak team. Like, such a flexible main tank really allows them to go through and play a huge variety of styles, which is such an incredible like value add in the meta we're in right now, where it's so map dependent. It's so dependent on kind of the styles that teams want to go with, and just having all of those options available to you is really important, and it's something that Faded brings to the team. We'll see if Lava can kind of fill those shoes here tonight, but either way, it's going to be a fascinating matchup for sure. As we wait to get everybody into the lobby here, I do want to remind everyone at home, thank you for joining us here tonight. Your support is always welcome here at Star Esports, and we invite you, if you haven't already, subscribe there, or follow and subscribe on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube channel, come join us in the Discord to keep up to date on all the happenings with the current All-Star Brawl, future tournaments that will be going on. We are always welcoming new people into the community that we've built here, and we thank you for your support. Today, though, you get to participate in the action a little bit. As always, the MVP poll will be running throughout the match here tonight. So if there's a player who absolutely pops off, catches your eye, be sure to toss them a vote, and we will be revealing the MVP at the end of the match here tonight.
Of course, some of the biggest names on this hot streak squad are ones to be keeping an eye on. Lava, Frosted, Lep, Micro, as well as people like Bedtime Story, who are a little bit newer, but have definitely made their mark on this tournament so far. And then on the side of Death Computer, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on the main tank leader of the team, Bolby, who has been one of the most experienced members of this Death Computer squad up to this point. I'm also keeping an eye here on Hanbei, the the flex support of this Death Computer squad. I remember seeing him have some incredible pop-off moments in the first match that I watched against this team play against their first round opponent. I need to look at the bracket to remember who it was against. Their first round opponent there was... Dang it, it's not loading, bro. It was against GeForce. It was against GeForce. There it is.
Yes, it was.
And Hanbei had some incredible moments in that matchup. And I'm definitely looking to him to really try and close that gap between the Death Computer and guys like Micro and Lep, who are definitely sort of known quantities, people who are extremely talented and more, I don't know if known quantities, it kind of implies that they can't get better, because they definitely can, but we definitely know the level of play that we can expect out of these guys. So Clover and Hanbei, I'm looking to see if they can close that gap.
Yeah, the bar is pretty dang high here when you are talking about going up against a team like Hot Streak. So they definitely have a challenge before them, but given the what we've seen from Clover and Hanbei in the past, I definitely think they are going to be up to the task, potentially, to at least give us a close series here tonight. At least, that's what my optimistic caster voice in my head is telling me. That's what we're always hoping for here. We want more as much Overwatch as possible. And speaking of Overwatch, we are just about ready to get into the game here. We're going to be kicking things off on Blizzard World, which is a very fascinating place, I think, to start a series. We're going to see, I think, a real clash of styles here, potentially, depending on just which side of the map that you were working with defensively. I think you're going to see a lot of Orisa, potentially even in double shield comps, although that is not the direction that Death Computer is going to take us. They've got Moving Fish on the Diva to complement Bolby on the Orisa.
Yeah, that Diva on the side of Moving Fish is going to help them really deal with the sort of incoming damage that Lava and Marshall are going to be coming out with on the side of Hot Streak. They're going to be looking to get some really solid engages with those players. Micro in the back, damage boosting people, trying to make sure that you can just get in, at least at the very least, knock people out of position. So the question is, how well will Bolby and Salty and everyone on the side of Death Computer be able to handle that engagement? And turns out they don't want to handle the engagement at all. They're just going to go ahead and cede the high ground after watching what they're playing, and go ahead and move back over to the point. Now, I understand you don't want to take that engagement, but now look at the vantage point that Bedtime Story has. Basically has free reign to lob shots and dynamites in on their team.
Yeah, certainly. This is kind of an awkward spot for Death Computer to be in. They're all grouped up on the points, save for Rose, who is working the flanks right now, but they're going to get pinched from multiple sides as Frosted comes around one end. Marshall loops around the back on this Echo, finds the opening pick there on the Salty. A man advantage here going the way of Hot Streak at the moment as they push forward. They collapse in onto Bolby, and that might just be it here for point A.
I just don't get it sometimes. A lot of these teams, they set up on that high ground, and then after even just the teeniest bit of pressure, they go ahead and drop off and fall back to the point. And when they're huddling around those walls of the point like that, it just feels to me like they're saying, no, please, surround us and hit us from all sorts of different damage points and from all sorts of different sources and all sides, and we can't do anything about it. I know you don't want to lose that initial engagement because then it's just over, but I feel like there has to be a better way to deal with that.
Certainly, but now they've got to figure out a way to regroup here. They quickly deal with the Bob coming out from Bedtime Story and are trying to fight for this high ground control, but the numbers are there for the side of Hot Streak. There's the Gravitic Flux very early coming out from Frosted after all the damage done in that first fight, and they will be able to take care of Moving Fish, who swapped over to the Sigma trying to match that double shield, but for the time being, it's just going to have to be Death Computer on the retreat.
Well, Frosted has done over double the damage of Moving Fish right now, which would go ahead and explain that difference right there. As now look at all this space that Hot Streak are able to take here. Frosted continuing to pop off here, getting 2 kills for Hot Streak here, but now the DPS of Death Computer are starting to pop off.
Yeah, that's fantastic work there from both Salty and Rose. Not only getting a couple kills, denying the res there, but Marshall is not done with this fight just yet. Copies the Orisa with the duplicate, but not going to be able to keep Frosted alive. And that's an ultimate kind of going to waste there a little bit for Hot Streak. They do have their momentum halted, and thank God for the side of Death Computer. They could not afford to just let this cart continue rolling without any resistance.
I feel like maybe they went a little bit too aggressive there. Hot Streak did. They went onto that really far high ground when the rest of Hot Streak were getting right out of spawn here.
But now we see Death Computer using that amplification matrix, pumping in the damage. Rose finds the headshot through it, will be able to take out Bedtime Story, but no ability to deny the res there. Clover in a little bit of trouble here, but falls back into that immortality field, and the advantage still with Death Computer for the time being, but they are losing a little bit of control in that high ground. The Gravitic Flux is huge, but the Transcendence is even bigger. Clover keeping everyone alive. The Bob comes in for the cleanup, and now Hot Streak just has to try and figure out how to get out of here without losing anybody else. They're going to commit this amp matrix to keep things going, but Death Computer wisely back off.
Yeah, great stuff there from Death Computer there. No matter what Hot Streak threw at them, there was always a counter, and Salty in the back has been getting pick after pick, just been a huge nuisance for the squad. Already has 4 final blows leading the team. It's been tough so far for Hot Streak to be able to consistently deal with them.
Yeah, most definitely. They've done a much better job here on point B of keeping control of the high ground, but now Salty is out of this fight. They're going to have to try and press forward, take the mismatched numbers fight, but eventually they do kind of get swarmed. Marshall and Lep putting in damage from multiple angles, and now the Pulse Bomb comes in as well. That Amp Matrix is going to get absolutely nothing done, and the cart will cruise on into this checkpoint.
And that's the experience of a team like Hot Streak. That's the kind of stuff you expect. The Orisa Halt, the Pulse Bomb combination between Lava and Marshall, even though I'm not sure if these guys have ever played on a team together before, was perfect. It just shows 2 players that know their roles on a team like this at all times. And now Frosted is pushing up, is getting value, takes out the opposing number again, and they're going to continue pushing forward now. This is looking really rough right now for Death Computer as Hot Streak continue taking space, continue to take picks. They just can't get a full 6 on the field at once right now. Salty goes down, so the Pulse Bomb's out of the picture now. And again, Death Computer are basically forced back into spawn to just make sure that all 6 of them can get back onto the field. And while it's happening, Marshall is just pushing the cart forward.
Yeah, they basically get half of this 3rd section of the map completely for free here. The Gravitic Flux is out to try and re-engage here from Moving Fish. The Pulse Bomb will connect, but still, we've got kills traded back and forth. One support gone from both sides as Death Computer trying to stabilize. They catch out Frosted with the halt there, and that really seems like it's going to be enough for the time being to get them a little bit of space at least. The supercharger out now from Lava to try and regain some ground for the attackers as they continue pressing forward with this cart. The Amp Matrix is going to make things awkward here, but that Immortality Field keeping everyone alive for the side of Hot Streak at the moment as the Transcendence comes out. Clover letting the team push forward. They're trying to get some advantages here, but no kills to come in. They lose the Zenyatta, and now they're on the retreat, trying desperately to avoid losing more members, but the ults are flying left and right here from Hotstreak, and they're finding the damage. They're finding the kills that they need. The res as well onto Lava will make sure that they have the tankiness to push this card nearly to the end.
That was a pretty crazy re-engage coming in from Hotstreak there. They were low on people, but they wisely were able to back up and wait for their fallen members to rejoin the fight, and then they pushed back in on the Death Computer that kind of overstayed their welcome. But now you're in Death Computer's land here, right with their spawns right outside the door, and with the Bob from Rose is going to be enough for them to push back. So now we see 30 seconds left on the clock here. This is Hotstreak's last real good chance to push the cart all the way through to the end. They're going to have the Valkyrie from Micro, and both tank ultimates will be coming up soon from Lava and Frosted. But you need to give them a little bit of time to be able to get that last 15 to 20% on those ultimates. Meanwhile, Moving Fish will have a Gravitic Flux, and Hanbei has the Ant Matrix.
Certainly, this is going to be a very even fight when it comes to ults. There's that Ant Matrix out, just zoning everybody away from the cart. It's helped secure the kill there onto Bedtime Story. A couple more coming in now as well. Lep is gone. It's all falling apart here for Hotstreak. They weren't able to get the fight they needed there on that final point, and as you mentioned, those tank ultimates, they don't come online in time. No supercharger, no gravitic flux in that final fight, and without those tools, Hotstreak just doesn't have the firepower to get it over the line.
And that was perfect from Moving Fish. They realized that that the members of Hotstreak were low on ultimates. They don't have a ton that would be able to deal with the Gravitic Flux, so they use it extremely early before Hotstreak really have a chance to get set up in the way that they want to, and just secures a kill. You don't have to go for that super flashy 6-man lift, everyone's in the air at once kind of play. As long as you can secure a kill on one person in that scenario, your team will usually be able to roll that through to a fight win. So bravo to Moving Fish there. Frosted was popping off that entire attack, but Moving Fish had the last laugh.
Indeed, and overall, it's a really good response there from the side of Death Computer. It'd be very easy for them after losing point A so quickly, after getting pushed back towards their spawn on point B at the initial fights, to just kind of roll over and let that be a very quick capture. But instead, they buckle down hard on the defense. They regroup. They change up some things with their competition, getting Moving Fish over onto the Sigma to match Frosted a little bit. And, they're able to hold strong there at the very end. Now we'll see what they can do on the offense, breaking out the Wrecking Ball here. It's kind of a very similar look to what we saw from Hotstreak the first time around.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting on the defense now because, Hotstreak now, it's kind of a role reversal, right? Now it's Hotstreak that's on the double shield, and it's Death Computer that's on the Wrecking Ball, and once again, it's Hotstreak had started on the high ground and immediately moved back to the point after they saw the Wrecking Ball coming out of Bulby. So the question is, will you be able to follow up on that as well as Hotstreak did on you the first time?
Yeah, but they're being a little bit more proactive with how they're using their poke at this point and have not fallen over just yet. Nice dynamite coming in there from Bedtime Story, still controlling this back high ground, which is exactly where you want to be as the Ashe. Now Hanbei in a little bit of trouble, surrounded by enemies. Stays alive for longer than the Zenyatta probably should have, but still ends up falling, and that is going to be a nice first fight there for the side of Hotstreak. They hold on, they chew some of this clock away.
Great stuff there from Hotstreak as Salty gets an exit kill on the Bedtime Story there. So a potential here for Death Computer to push back in on a 6v5. I just feel like this composition from Death Computer isn't quite as put together to deal with the weaknesses of this sort of bunker composition. You don't have as much ability with the Tracer Hanzo to be able to poke from different angles. Now you have Echo and Ashe, which is a lot better, but Marshall in the back gets his 15th final blow of the game.
Yeah, absolutely dominating on the Tracer right now, and the cleanup is it's trivial there. Once the first couple of kills start to come through, Frosted continues to pad the stats here and build up towards that first kind of big set of ultimates here for the side of Hot Streak. They'll have 3 at least online for this next fight.
They should have enough online, and they need to get something done pretty quickly here, as now time is starting to become a bit of a factor. Minute 45 left on the clock, and you have to play into 4 ultimates coming out from a Hot Streak. You have Supercharger, Gravitic Flux, Bob, and Valkyrie. A lot of damage boosts coming out here, and again, the synergy here. Lava pulls them all together, Bedtime Story lights them all on fire, so much poke damage.
Indeed, and you know, there's the Gravitic Flux. Stunned out of it is Frosted there. Nice rock coming in, and now the counter Gravitic Flux from Moving Fish. Incredibly well played by the Sigma of Death Computer, but is it going to be enough? They've been able to take down some of the dimmers. Those mines on the point should be enough here for the cleanup, as Bulby now heading to the high ground to deal with Bedtime Story, and that will be it here. Marshall, the only one left standing at the moment, and one Tracer not going to be able to stand tall on the point.
It was a little iffy there, but again, Moving Fish, these Gravitic Fluxes have been really impactful for this team. It seems like that ultimate is the easiest way for Death Computer to really like go and be like, okay, everyone is at half health right now. This is our best opportunity.
Oh, but Moving Fish nearly caught out there, pressing forward, gets hit by the rock there, and now it's gonna be once again Hot Streak on the offensive, pushing forward with that Supercharger. Rose, though, in the backlines, finds another pulse bomb but Marshall is there to answer, so we're still very even at the moment. The res will chain things, and now it's still going very back and forth. Both tanks still alive for both teams, and there's the Amp Matrix coming out there from Lep, trying to just buy some space here for Hot Streak to continue holding their ground. They don't have the spawn advantages at this point of the map, and now Micro coming in from behind on the Brigida is going to prove a little bit of a problem here, but still somehow finally it goes the way of Death Computer, and they will eventually get through here as Salty goes over to the Genji. This is a very interesting pick.
Yeah, especially with no Ana to help you out. I guess maybe you could use Mercy damage boost to go along with Dragon Blade. But yeah, I think that now with that swap, Death Computer are going pure close range damage here. They're going to be looking to get a lot out of these dives.
And speaking of which, they're trying to use the Transcendence to get right up in the face of Hot Streak. Salty going in deep, finally getting some of those dash resets off as the kills come through. But in the meantime, the cart not quite moving. There we go. They finally get people on it. And a late Gravitic Flux coming out from Frosted, but it's not going to do anything to stop the cart.
You win for the kill onto the Mercy, but forgot about the payload, Frosted. You got it. This stat padding has gone too far, Shy Guy. You needed to focus on the objective there, even though you got the Mercy. This was a very quick point B coming out from Death Computer, and now they have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to push through the end and take away this first map. You've got to refocus up here if you're a Hot Streak right now, because going down 1-0 early against this team is not the position you want to be in. Death Computer will take that momentum and run with it.
Certainly, they're going to try and use that Supercharger, but Rose deals with it nicely. The Pulse Bomb finds a kill. Salty gets one as well, but then dives a bit too deep there. Thought he could get more in that situation, but it's not going to happen. Shut down there by the Shield Bash coming in from Micro, and now with the rally, it's Hot Streak pushing forward. Bulby is isolated from the rest of the team and will fall eventually, so Hot Streak does stabilize here, does buy themselves some time.
Some time was bought, but look at the ultimates for Hot Streak now. You are only working with the Amp Matrix from Lep, which doesn't feel like, I mean, it can be very impactful, but when you can just get around a wall like you're doing right now, if you're Death Computer, now you have absolutely nothing. and you're going to be playing into the Gravitic Flux and the Dragon Blade from Death Computer here. That could very easily be comboed together, and you know that they don't have anything.
Oh, and this is really problematic. There goes the Dragon Blade, but the Immortality Field does at least keep them alive momentarily, but it's not enough at the end. After losing Marshall early on in that fight, there was not much for Hot Streak to be able to do. They've got a minute to try and hold on here, and it's gonna come down to one last solid fight here. Both teams, not a lot of ultimates to work with, but Moving Fish, the Gravitic Flux, it's been huge so far. Can he find it one more time? We'll see if they can make something happen here. There we go. Picks up 2. The Immortality Field keeping everyone on Hot Streak alive for the time being. Very nicely done there by Hanbei to keep the Sigma alive in that situation, but Clover has fallen. Bedtime Story finding the pick there, and now the Amp Matrix out from Lep is going to send Death Computer packing there. They gotta run, they've gotta retreat, and try and get back in for one last ditch attempt.
Clover got taken out with 95% of the rally up. Micro got theirs off, and that ended up being the difference maker here. But if you can get a solid contest here from Death Computer, they have the ultimates to potentially push things over the finish line. This isn't over.
Yeah, we've got Matrix Force Supercharger at the moment. A lot of damage being pumped out by both teams, but there's the Deadeye.
Time.
Yeah, absolutely disgusting there. And again, we just see these last second desperation pushes. So easy to shut down as long as you can find 1 or 2 picks with your key ultimates.
A solid win coming out from Hot Streak there. Death Computer made them sweat for it, but I think both Bedtime Story and Marshall topped 15 final blows in that game. The DPS members of this squad absolutely popped off here, especially at the end here. I really thought, I saw all the ultimates coming up from Death Computer, and I was like, oh man, they might be able to take the first point here, but unfortunately, Bedtime Story said, no, I'm just going to click everyone on the head and win because I'm Cassidy and that's what I do.
Indeed, and like there's just the problem there for the side of Death Computer. They just had no way to get back and deal with that supercharger. As if your Tracer is unable to get into the backline and shut that down, it's just such a tremendous value, especially for the DPS pick like Cassidy, as you mentioned. I mean, such a kind of it doesn't always look easy, but when you have the mechanical skill of a player like Bedtime Story, that is a pretty simple task there at the end to find your shots and shut down that push from Death Computer. So well played by Hot Streak to come away with the win there on map number 1. It was really close though. That was incredibly tight there towards the end as Death Computer putting up a great fight so far.
Yeah, I think Death Computer kept things really close with Hot Streak, which is really what you want. You want to make sure that Hot Streak are never getting too comfortable here. They're never thinking that, oh, we've got this. We're gonna roll these guys, because if you give these guys that little bit of confidence, they are going to just start rolling all over you. Death Computer are throwing a lot of things at the wall here at Hot Streak. They showed a Risa-based composition. They showed Wrecking Ball-based composition. The Genji swap from Salty had mixed results, but it was something that we definitely weren't expecting. So I think that Death Computer have a degree of flexibility that Hot Streak haven't shown that they are either willing or able to match yet. So I think that is what they have going into this, just throwing some really unique, weird stuff at Hot Streak that they haven't fought in a while, and see if they can deal with it.
Certainly. I mean, and Hot Streak has definitely been a team that tends to favor those Arisa-based compositions. They really like going for the double shield look. I mean, you can't really blame them when they have a Sigma like Frosted on their side of the field, but you got to give credit to Death Computer for being able to kind of throw them for a loop at times. They were running the Wrecking Ball comps quite well on their attack, and Moving Fish I think was definitely the highlight for me on the side of Death Computer. They were fantastic on the Sigma, going toe-to-toe with Frosted, and you mentioned it, the Gravitic Fluxes were kind of, I think, the really big go signal for Death Computer. That was the moments where they got all on the same page, where when Moving Fish was able to lift those enemy players up in the air, slam them down in combo with some of the teammates to secure the finishing blows there.
Yeah, I think that, Frosted was in the kill feed a lot more often on that Sigma, but it seemed like the attack from Death Computer more often than not kind of went through Moving Fish and their ability to give them an upper hand in fights with that gravitic flux, slamming everyone down, putting them down to half health. And yeah, Death Computer's most explosive fights was when they led with the gravitic flux and then were able to follow up on the damage that Moving Fish had done to the rest of the team. However, when that is the only thing that you're able, well, I wouldn't say it's the only thing that the Computer 1 fights on, but they seem to do it a lot. And I get really concerned when I'm seeing a team that seems to be overly reliant on one player to open up opportunities for them. That's why a team like Hot Streak is so potent, because you've got Frosted on the other side that can open things up, and then you've got Bedtime Story and Marshall that can get kills at any moment. Lava on the Orisa is always looking to be able to set people up with those halts. Micro and Lep are putting in plays of their own. Everyone on Hot Streak can open up opportunities for their team to go in and get fight wins. And I'm just not seeing that same kind of explosiveness from the individual members of Death Computer, at least after that first Blizzard World map. By the way, our second map has come in. It's going to be Watchpoint Gibraltar, which is a very interesting pick coming out of Death Computer. Shows they probably want to take things to be a little more divey moving forward.
Certainly, and I mean, I think this is a good idea. It's something that you're gonna test Hot Streak a little bit here, and not to say that like we think that Hot Streak are kind of like a one-trick team or anything like that, but they've definitely kind of shown us over the course of this tournament and like through their history just like what their comfort picks really are, and this is not necessarily a map that kind of plays into that. So they're gonna be stretched and pulled a little bit in different ways here than we would have seen on Blizzard World or another kind of more conventional map in a lot of the options that were on the table here. So I do like it as a pick here for Death Computer. Now what exactly we are going to see out of them is yet to be determined, but they will be starting things off on the attack, so they've got the opportunity to come out and really set the tone here.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a high risk high reward situation to attack first, because like you said, you are setting the tone for the other team. If you're able to get a solid attack, then maybe you get in their heads a little bit, and then if you kind of come up short, you've put together a very winnable situation and boost their confidence a little bit. Now this is really interesting on the defense here coming out from Hot Streak. We're going to be seeing a sort of dive composition. We've got dive comps, but Bedtime Story and Micro are probably going to be sitting in the back on the Ashe and Mercy respectively. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this sort of hybrid dive and poke comp operates here. And I'm also curious to see if this is a permanent thing from Death Computer, or if they're going to swap after they get a hook. And yeah, that was it. It was just a setup to see if they could get Moving Fish a hook, and now it's going to be Wrecking Ball for them.
Yeah, and they nearly got it. Their Bedtime Story was caught out by the halt, but they didn't quite connect on the hook. But still, Lava has already been dealt with here. Tried to dive in onto the supports, but Clover and Hanbei able to work together to stay alive in that situation, find the opening pick, and give the team a little bit of control here. But now everybody back to full strength here. As we do see right now, it looks like Hot Streak are kind of prioritizing control of the server room for the time being, and with the pick that they were just able to get, they now have a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, really great stuff there from Hot Streak to just sort of take the initial engagement, even after losing Lava a little bit early. That sort of bend but don't break strategy is really difficult to pull off, but they did very well. And now you have a lot of ultimates. Bob coming out, as well as Pulse Bomb and Nano Boost, which will almost certainly be put on Lava as he jumps in.
Most definitely trying to build up towards that Primal Rage here. Is now we've got a bit of an awkward situation for the side of Death Computer. 3 of their members stuck on in the low ground kind of area of the map, trying to fight their way out at the moment, but getting harassed on all sides. Marshall poking in from the side on the Tracer, and that's going to force out that Transcendence so early on into this fight, not really providing a tremendous amount of value, but they trade it for a suboptimal nano boost there, as Lep has to use it onto Frosted to keep the Diva alive as well. So both teams kind of trading ultimates to stay in the fight for the time being, and now things can really get going here as eventually the poke is starting to come in, starting to kind of overwhelm here for the side of Hot Streak, as they're finding a couple of these kills, taking down Salty. They get the DMEC as well, and finally deal with Moving Fish. So far, this defense looking phenomenal.
You really just don't have much to deal with Bedtime Story right now if you're Death Computer. I mean, what is a Tracer and a Sombra supposed to do about an Ashe in the back poking at you with a Mercy Pocket? You can't really do much, so you need extremely good and coordinated dives, and that one-man EMP on the Frosted, that's not really going to help. Yeah, that does nothing. Frosted doesn't even get hit.
Yeah, and eventually Frosted gets the nano boost, but now the skills finally start to come in. They were at least able to kind of separate the front line from the back line, and eventually Rose and Salty get some of the damage down. Bulby as well in the back, and with just under a minute remaining, it is Bedtime Story securing point A.
You know, okay, fair enough. I kind of roasted Salty for the EMP, but it seems to have kind of scrambled the members of Hot Streak enough that they were able to take advantage of the isolated players, and now Rose is swapped onto the Widowmaker. This is a much better opportunity considering Bedtime Story had kind of been taking over the fight so far. Widowmaker versus Ashe at high range, I have to give the advantage to Widowmaker every time, and Salty is 80% to another EMP, but he is dead, so that's going to slow things down here for Death Computer as they wait for their important Sombra to come back, because you need those hacks onto high priority players like Lava and Frosted to be able to officially consistently get dives out.
Yeah, and this feels like a pretty ill-advised fight here from Bedtime Story. There were not enough members in that small room. They have to use the Transcendence to stay in the fight, but now they get a good EMP down, trying to push forward with that, but they simply don't have the damage at the moment. Rose had to go back to spawn to regen a little bit of health in that situation, and there's the self-destruct up onto the high ground, somehow taking down the Tracer, and there's the minefield as well being committed. So a lot of space being taken by the side of Death Computer as they push forward, but Bob is holding it down on the cart, and this slow, steady fight is eventually starting to go the way of Hot Streak.
Hot Streak once again are doing really well at this sort of counter dive strategy. They really let Death Computer be the aggressors, and then they sort of hang back, they get hacked, they kind of take the influx of damage and then push back in with their own abilities when Death Computer are kind of depleted. But Lava gets caught out there, and now Rose and Salty have opened things up.
That's fantastic stuff there from the DPS of Death Computer, and now Marshall falls as well while trying to contest, but Rose just denies it with the headshot there. So really well done on that shuttle phase by Death Computer, and even as the kills start to go the way of Hot Streak, it's not really going to mean much. The cart has already made it to its checkpoint. They will not be forced backwards at all in this situation, and things are looking a little rough here for Hot Streak, who do still continue to buy time by taking this fight.
Yeah, they continue to take the fight, but in the end, the spawn advantage will surely go the way of Death Computer. Where was Frosted? You needed him back there to be on the cart consistently, tiptoeing on it, making sure that the point didn't unlock in the favor of Death Computer, but when it happened, he was way in the back, I guess, chasing some kill on a support, and was nowhere near the opportunity to be able to take the point. So it was sort of, I don't want to say C9 because several members of Hot Streak were dead at that point, but it sure wasn't a good look.
There's the EMP. It's going to land on to both tanks, but no kills immediately off the back of that. Lava is still staying alive. The biotic grenade keeping the Winston in the fight for the time being, but the focus is coming in onto Frosted, who's forced to use that self-destruct. It will draw out the Transcendence as well. So ult's being forced here by Hot Streak at the moment, but they're losing members left, right, and center. Moving Fish finds a couple for themselves, and now things looking very desperate here for Hot Streak. They should have one last opportunity to try and recontest.
The silver lining here is that it was an extremely expensive fight coming out from Death Computer. They used just about everything they had, which means now Lava and Bedtime Story will have very little resistance to their Tactical Visor and Primal Rage respectively. You can see how everyone just kind of went running there as Bedtime Story came out with Tact Visor, and now Salty's down, which removes a lot of the lethality from Death Computer.
Most definitely, and you can see them on the retreat. They know that this fight is done. They cannot press forward anymore, so they're just going to try and, going to hole up in this high ground position on the staircase and avoid losing any more members. But Hot Streak want to press their advantage. They force out the Transcendence early. I mean, Hanbei feels like they need to stay in this fight, and with only 15 seconds remaining, I can't really blame him for that decision. Now, will they be able to do this without that big ultimate? There's the EMP out. Salty will fall for it, but they've gotten a couple of members pinned back here into the corner. Bedtime Story nowhere to run from that self-destruct, but will it be enough? Frosted and Lava are still in the fight. Micro is here as well to provide a little bit of sustainability, but the rally from Clover is letting Hot Streak just be forced back into their spawn. They cannot really fight into this, but they've gotten some members back into it. Bedtime Story on the Doomfist trying to get some work done, but completely shut down. The mines on the point are going to zone Hot Streak away from the point, and towards the very end, Death Computer get it over the line.
Okay, I was rough on Hanbei there. I wasn't sure. When I saw the Transcendence come out, I was like, oh man, they've lost this. But actually, that ended up being the key moment here for Death Computer. If the Transcendence wasn't used there, Hanbei and the tanks and everyone that was at that stairwell with them would have surely died. They wouldn't have come back from spawn until there was maybe 5 seconds left in the match. That Transcendence allowed for that little group of Death Computer members to stay alive and then rejoin the rest of their teammates when they had come back out from spawn, get a full fight with the ultimates that they had available to them, and then take the point in overtime. But they still did finish the map. So honestly, that was an extremely smart move from Hanbei. Understood exactly the situation that the team was in before I did, honestly. And that was the turning point of that fight. So applause to Hanbei there. I think absolutely saved that for Death Computer.
Look, there's a reason that they're the ones playing the game and we're the ones talking about it. It's
true.
They know better than us. It's just gonna be the case the vast majority of the time, and good heads up decision making helps Death Computer secure the 3 points here, at least guarantee themselves extra rounds on Gibraltar, if not the outright win, if they can stop Hot Streak in their tracks. And speaking of which, we are going to see very similar comps from both sides here. Rose still on the Widowmaker, is going to be playing at very distant sidelines. I mean, look how far back that Widow is at the moment, just kind of waiting for the dive to come in, trying to pepper down these tanks and find a line of sight to secure some kind of kill.
Yeah, while this is happening, Marshall is at the bottom just getting point progress, which is huge, especially when you're winning the dive up top. The support line of Hot Streak is completely dead, and man, that's going to force him back to spawn. That's real unfortunate there, as the first push coming in from Hot Streak ends up just completely fizzling out thanks to the DPS line on Death Computer. And now we're gonna have to go back in again with honestly no ultimates coming up. This is still a neutral fight.
Certainly, that was really just kind of a little bit of a stall coming through there, and again, that's going to kind of buy some time. Rose gets the headshot, Lep falls as well, and His dive coming out from the side of Death Computer has been impeccable so far. Frosted does manage to get 2 back, but it's not going to mean anything at all as the Diva gets staggered out here, gets demeched, and removed from the fight effectively.
And what do you do? Why would you take a fight in console room if you're Hot Streak there? Because Bedtime Story is Ash. If y'all take a fight in that little tiny room with very few windows, there's not much that an Ash can do to help out in that fight. It's effectively a 5v6. So that ends up not being the greatest decision, but Bedtime Story does swap over to the Cassidy, which is a much better pick for the kind of style that they want to run, but that means that the old charge is completely reset. You're playing into Mines and Pulse Bomb and Trance.
Yeah, but the Cassidy's not going to be able to do anything if he's all on his lonesome, and that's exactly where Moving Fish found Bedtime Story in that fight. The Primal Rage is going to come out here from Lava as Hot Streak want to extend this fight for the time being, and Marshall does get into the back line, secures the kill on the Moving Fish, who had tried to go for the self-destruct, so very even at the moment, and Frosted takes care of the Pulse Bomb. Some of these threats being dealt with at the moment, but that bomb goes absolutely nowhere. The server room has been gained here for Hot Streak, but can they press forward with this positioning advantage? Can they really get much more going for them in this situation? Bulby gets stunned up, hit by the biotic grenade, and eventually taken out by Marshall, who goes in back, lays down the Pulse Bomb, gets the double kill. Hanbei out of the fight, and now things looking very dicey here. The shield bash from Micro is absolutely perfect, denies Moving Fish any opportunity to contest.
Yeah, that was great from Micro there, and I have to say, some great plays to kill Bulby there. Lep gets the anti-nade onto Bulby, purpled, gets chunked down a lot, tries to go into the Mega Room, right into the waiting arms of Marshall, who finishes off the low health Wrecking Ball. So I really love that little Micro play there coming up from Hot Streak, because now they get to unlock the second point of this map with several picks. Moving Fish and Bulby were both killed as they tried to contest, so this is going to allow a lot of extra space here for Hot Streak here.
Most definitely, and Salty uses that Infrasight, knew exactly where the members of Death Computer were, finds the Pulse Bomb, so an advantage here.
Yeah, a little bit of an advantage here for Death Computer now in the middle of this room. This teeny little side room here is going to really favor the members of Death Computer now. They're a lot better at taking those close range fights, especially when Bedtime Story is not in the equation. So this is now a big play here, big power play coming out from Death Computer, as they have 4 ultimates online, both tank, both support ultimates, and they have full control over point B. So much space, so many high ground opportunities for them to take, but this is the nano boost coming in on the Lava, the engagement trying to do something, but Moving Fish finds the Pulse Bomb on Marshall. That's big. Now that's one of the ultimates taken out of the fight on the side of Hot Streak, and now the re-engage comes in on the side of Hot Streak as Bedtime Story takes out Bulby, and now Marshall finds the opposing number. The Transcendence Force out from Hanbei to try and find anything, try and keep the remaining members of Death Computer alive, but I don't think you're going to get very much out of it as the cart is inching towards the end of point B. Moving Fish is going to try to do anything they can to get back onto that point, but the bomb on top is going to all but assure that this is going to finish. Actually, it's not quite over yet. Salty finds the pick onto Lep, so that's a lot of healing down, but the damage is there, and that is what's going to allow Hot Streak to push through. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock to push through point C here. We got the dividing solo cast here for a second as Shy Guy disconnected. This is what we're getting right now as Moving Fish gets in really early and gets a pick on the Bedtime Story. Maybe got in a little bit too fast, a little bit too quickly for the team. as now we kind of find ourselves in a little bit of a standstill. Without Bedtime Story along for the ride, it's really difficult for this for the Hot Streak squad to get enough damage. But now the Nano Boost in onto Lava feels like for the 7th time. In fact, that's how many ultimates Lep has used so far this game. Gives them so much space, but now the Primal Rage is fading, and both support ultimates are online here for Hot Streak, for Death Computer here. This is now going to be really difficult for Hot Streak to be able to push into, but Salty was a little bit outside of the range of that rally, so I think this is going to be a big big opportunities here for Hot Streak as they push through towards the end, but Hanbei with the pick onto Marshall, and the spawn advantage in favor of Death Computer is going to allow them to push back in. Hanbei with the double kill on both of the supports. I told you, keep an eye on this guy. Absolutely pops off there, as now we're within a minute on the clock here.
60 seconds remaining.
And this is now big opportunities here as Rose gets the pick on the lap. That's huge for Death Computer now, as they're going to try and push in for some stagger kills. 45 seconds left on the clock. Losing your Baptiste like that is the worst case scenario here for Hot Streak. You cannot have that happen, as now you have to wait. This is now last fight territory here, as they're going to have to go in for the rally without their Baptiste bar. And moving Fish just drops it in the middle of them. A 3K Diva bomb, and that is almost surely gonna do it here. 20 seconds left on the clock. The stagger's going in favor of of Death Computer here. And this, I mean, 10 seconds left now. This is gonna be really difficult for Hot Streak. They've got to hurry to get back onto the point. Lava has got to hustle, has swapped onto the Wrecking Ball to try and get back on, but Salty is lying in wait. The Vines are now up in front, just offering so much protection, and that is gonna be it. They step off for just a moment, and that is enough. Death Computer have tied up the series 1-1, and hopefully, I see Shy Guy in call. Hopefully we'll get it back in the game pretty soon. That was a pretty exciting end of the game, if only you were here to see it.
Yeah, I wish I could have been able to witness it, but you know, I got the audio, so I've got a vivid imagination, so I can see that pulse bomb in my mind, and you know, I'm just glad I get to come back to at least 2 more maps of Overwatch. So we'll see.
Uh-oh. It seems we might have some Shy Guy internet problems. That was unfortunate. I guess we will see, Shy Guy. I guess we will see. Yeah, he's frozen again. Oops. So, yeah, we're in a bit of a sticky situation here, as Hot Streak, I think, maybe got a little bit too overconfident there after that first little win. After that first win against... You know, after the first win, they went for these, like, super aggressive dives. They went for these Ashe compositions, and Death Computer did a very good job being able to kite around it, play around the long-range DPS, and make sure that you took away as much power as possible. So once Bedtime Story was forced to play the Cassidy instead, not be quite as fast, not play on the high ground, it felt like they weren't as consistently able to get as much value. Rose swapped onto the Widowmaker, was winning that sniper battle, and when you're winning the sniper battle in that situation, your team has a huge advantage.
No, certainly. I mean, there's a reason that people hate to play against Widowmaker, and it's that when that DPS can kind of get rolling, it can take over a game to an extent, and you know, one pickoff can be all it takes for a team to kind of snowball. And I think we saw the power of that pick as Rose was able to make great use of it there on Watchpoint Gibraltar. But now we kind of swing back in the other direction, where Hot Streak, they are going to be able to select our next map, so they'll be able to completely kind of shift the focus of this game and the way that they want it to be played. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see maps that kind of once again tend to favor those Orisa comps. I'm thinking, you know, something along the lines of a Temple of Anubis or something in that vein.
And then on the side of Death Computer, you're feeling pretty confident in your ability to take these sort of dive battles, right? Gibraltar, I think, just proof of concept worked out quite well for you. You seem to be one step ahead in both the being quicker to counter comp and just being quicker to adjust to the style of the other team. So I think that Death Computer is going to want to try and keep things in that sort of dive composition as much as possible. With the ban of Eichenwald here for Death Computer, that's a really interesting one, because you can make those Wrecking Ball and dive comps work, but it's also a pretty strong double shield map as well. So I think maybe they think that if it's their dive versus Hot Streak's double shield, maybe they don't come out on top in that one. So just trying to get rid of as many maps as they can that they think Hot Streak would basically be forced into, not forced, but be more than happy to play their most preferred composition. That would be good. But Hot Streak has plenty of opportunities to pick a map that would favor them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is definitely going to be the value of, you know, having map number one is that all they need to do from this point on is win their map pick. Like that's all it's going to take for Hot Streak to win this series. And, you know, that's easier said than done, obviously, especially with how close these two teams seem to be at the moment. But they'll take us to King's Row for this third map of the series, and yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that. I mean, it doesn't necessarily favor kind of the dive that we saw. I think it would be really hard for Rose to go over to the Widowmaker and find value this time around, but it's still not exactly kind of what we've expected out of Hot Streak so far.
It's not what we've expected, but it also could very much work. I think that King's Row has definitely sort of become a not as much a Rhine diva safe house, but more sort of, you know, whatever you want to play, you can make it work. We've seen a bunch of stuff have success here. The double shield that Hot Streak want. Dive will have trouble. Wrecking Ball will have trouble. There's just not as much room to work in that situation. But if the team really wants to make it work, I think they can. Overwatch right now is just as comp dependent as it has been. There's no like one end all be all comp like there has been before. So really looking forward to that. I think that I wouldn't be shocked if either Hot Streak or Death Computer decided to come out with Reinhardt based compositions. We haven't really seen it much today, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw them keep on staying with the same comps that they've been doing this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm remembering correctly, I've definitely seen Death Computer go towards those Reinhardt comps in particular for maps like this, or you know, something along the lines of a Legion Tower. It's in their kind of toolkit here. So this is obviously, it's kind of the Reinhardt map in the game when you're talking about King's Row. So you can always expect to see a little bit of it here, but we'll just have to see what these two teams want to bring to the table. And
what are we thinking here?
I mean, I do anticipate us seeing some Cassidy coming out. This is kind of one of the premier maps for that kind of style as well, and Bedtime Story has been kind of favoring that somewhat throughout this series, but actually might be going over towards the Symmetra, which again kind of fills not the same role, but something similar in that close range damage threat. And once they get kind of ramped up, there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure coming out towards the front line of Hot Streak here.
Yeah. And these sim turrets are going to be such a nuisance here. You can see them currently getting set up sort of on that side gardens area of Kings. They might be expecting for Death Computer to try and sort of bypass the main choke after they see that Mei and then go right into the grasp of those damaging, slowing turrets. So Very interested to see how they decide to go about this. Moving Fish sees them's going to take him out, but like I said, just a big nuisance right now.
Speaking of nuisances, there's the Doomfist coming out here from Salty, now looking for an opportunity to get that Rocket Punch, find the one-shot kill, but not happening so far. Lep is going to be the one to go down. I think might have taken a little bit of an ill-advised TP in that moment and gets punished for it. It's very brawly at the moment, both teams losing members, but with Bolby still alive, the shield there to protect the members of Death Computer, they'll be able to take this first point with relative ease here.
Yeah, I think there's maybe an opportunity to contest here, but no, they're gonna decide to just hold on the checkpoint. That was an interesting TP from Bedtime Story that Lep just kind of pops through without thinking about it and ends up in the middle of everyone on Death Computer. That was, I would say, not advised.
Most definitely, and that Earth Shatter, perhaps a little bit ill-advised from Lava, finds one, but Salty there immediately with a bit of a punish. Now Bedtime Story dueling with the Doomfist does secure the victory there, so we've got kind of even trades at the moment. That's going to favor the attackers for the most part, as they still have their tanks in the fray. The Blizzard coming out is not going to save Bolby from being, or not going to stop Bolby from getting out of there. And now Lava pushing forward. The Earth Shatter gets taken away. Bolby loses that ultimate mid-fight here, and things just breaking down into pure chaos. And Salty, that's exactly where the Doomfist thrives.
Wow. That should not have worked. The advantage was so in favor of Hotstreak, but Salty just comes seismic slamming in from the top ropes, takes down Lep, and then is just off to the races here for the Doomfist player. Beautiful stuff from Salty to help the rest of the team collapse onto the mass of Hotstreak. And now they're pushing in towards the end of first point here. They have Death Blossom, but they have to play through the sim wall.
And Rose gets spotted out there on the high ground by Frosted, so an opportunity for Hotstreak to fight back into this one. Rose on the high ground once again, but gets taken out as he emerges from that TP. So one player advantage, now two for the side of Hotstreak, as they finally stabilize a little bit here, stop the bleeding on King's Row, and they are pressed forward a little bit. There's opportunity for a back cap potentially, but no, Clover is just going to skate on out of there, get away with their lives, and rejoin the team.
Yeah, that's fair, especially when you see the ultimates that they still have. Even after what was a pretty expensive fight, you're still working with Ant Matrix, Diva Bomb, and Blizzard from the side of Hotstreak, with just the one lonely Death Blossom and probably a bomb coming up from Moving Fish as well. You are not in a great situation here, especially if Marshall wants to be aggressive with this Blizzard.
Oh, and so far, Frosted doing just an incredible job of marking Rose, going for that Death Blossom. Now the bombs coming out on both sides here. Neither really going to find pay dirt, but really all that we needed for the side of Death Computer was to buy some space, create an opportunity for the rest of the team to thrive, and they've done just that. They take out Frosted, they push on through to the second checkpoint, and they're going to have a tremendous time bank to work with.
This has been a huge step forward here for Death Computer. For the last couple of maps, it seems like they kind of end up on a slow start, but have then pushed through afterwards. But yeah, thanks to this Salty Doomfist, this kind of X Factor has just kind of been in the spawn getting stagger picks for the last 30 seconds. That shouldn't happen. And you can see just the momentum and how it has shifted so far into Death Computer's favor right now. You're still looking at both support ultimates and a Shatter for this squad, and Bedtime Story down. You're just not allowed to have 6 players alive right now if you're Hotstreak.
And I love that Hanzo swap there towards this final area of the map. It's so powerful. The pick potential is tremendous. There's a sound barrier coming out from Clover very early on to the fight. The dueling Earth Shatters going to be going the way of Lava, but they can't get to the point.
Come on, guys. You've gotta do something about that. These players are better than that, Hotstreak.
I mean, and that's the kind of thing that will tilt you off the face of the planet. right there to give up a time bank like that. 317 on King's Row is really tough to come back from. I mean, this is going to take a tremendous effort here from the side of Hot Streak if they want to be able to just keep this map alive.
Yeah, at this point, I would just be trying to just not look at that time bank as much as I can right now. Just make sure that my current thoughts and my focus is just on making sure that I finish the map, preferably with time so I can still win, but make sure that I finish the map so at least that we can get into some sort of extra rounds. Now, this is really interesting right now. There's still 25 seconds to swap here, but Marshall was currently showing a Doomfist of his own. After seeing how much value Salty was getting out of the Doomfist, it seems like maybe Marshall is going to be trying to get in on the action himself, and that worries me. These sort of reactionary, well, if this guy got so much value on this hero, maybe I'll play it. Usually, if it's not planned, it doesn't work out quite as well. But we'll see. Maybe Marshall has a crazy Doomfist in his pocket.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it is one of those picks that allows an individual to kind of take over a game. Rose here, trying to get a little bit of poke, needs to be careful, does have to Wraith out of there to avoid a potential stun coming in, and now the fight going to be taking place in this small corridor. Again, this is Salty's territory, has the Doomfist putting in work, and Marshall not able to really say the same in that instance, and once again, Hot Streak routed in the opening fight.
Admittedly, one fight is a small sample size, but Salty is at 80% to Meteor Strike. Marshall is at 35%. I get the feeling that Salty might be the better Doomfist in this scenario, but we'll see as now Marshall tries to get in onto Rose again at the top on the high ground, but Rose will wisely just wraith away back to his team as now they're just kind of hanging around that main choke.
Salty bites off a little bit more than he can chew, though. Dives in a little too deep and punished. So now an opportunity for the side of Hot Streak to make something happen, but they're having to push right into that Amp Matrix. They respond with one of their own, so that buys a tremendous amount of space for Lava. Back this fight is going on so long, it has given Bedtime Story an opportunity to get that Deadeye off and secure a pick here, but the sound barrier from Clover means that we see Death Computer just go hyper aggressive in this moment. They find the kills. And that was just brilliantly played, the way they kite it back, the way they just hold on to their tools and then all of a sudden erupt.
Salty on the Doomfist seems to have been the X factor that Death Computer has been looking for right now. They just look to be on a whole nother level here when they can play around those engagements from Salty, pushing with their Doomfist. Sometimes Salty's able to just get a solo kill, but no matter what, gets a lot of damage in on the squishier members of Hot Streak here, and they're having so much trouble dealing with it. Even Marshall on their own opposing Doomfist hasn't been able to match it.
Yeah, that was a really interesting self-destruct coming out there from Moving Fish. Does not really find much in Salty. Has once again fallen early here as we do see Hot Streak getting very aggressive. The Death Blossom from Rose not going to be enough to save this fight. And finally, with the terrorists kind of dealt with here, Hot Streak should be able to secure this first checkpoint. I don't think there will be much
Clover's in the
of a
back. Does Clover want to contest this?
I can't imagine it's going to go well if he does go for it. Moving Fish is all alone on the point, and they will be dealt with pretty shortly. So they try to throw bodies at the point, but nothing doing there for Death Computer. And still, that's kind of mission accomplished for them. They took a great amount of time off the clock already.
Yeah, it was beautifully played there, especially considering how it went on the opposite side when a Death Computer pretty much immediately pushed in and took point A. Taking like 2-3 minutes off the clock is so good. Now, in order to match things, you need basically a perfect attack coming out from Hot Streak from this point forward. And now, without the Cassidy, that's most of your consistent damage, so Death Computer are going to push right back on in.
Yeah, we're seeing ultimates traded. Frosted does find one with the self-destruct, so an advantage here for Hot Streak at the moment, and they will clean this up quite quickly, so they'll secure a lot more progress on the payload here. They're going to do one more fight to actually close out this second point, but this is exactly what they needed.
It is what they needed, and now you can be really aggressive here with your DPS ultimates. Deadeye and Meteor Strike. Neither of these two ultimates are necessarily the best in the game, but they are really good at zoning people away. They're really good at the threat of the damage ends up honestly being more value than the damage itself a lot of the times when it comes to these ultimates. So when it comes to this, when you're just trying to keep people off the point, that's massive.
Indeed, and that's exactly what we're seeing Bedtime Story do right now, but it's faded away. The timer is done, but Bulby gets stunned and deleted from the map. There no main tank here for the side of Death Computer as they try to push back in here, but it doesn't seem to matter whatsoever. Salty and Moving Fish doing work with the sound barrier, keeping them all healthy in that moment, and they secure the fight win right at the end of Point B.
I gotta say, these supports from Death Computer impressed me so much. Hanbei before with the key transcendence, and this time Clover, after losing Bulby early in the fight, so many supports would have just been like, okay, we lost our Reinhardt, we're just gonna have to give up point. But Clover says, no, I'm gonna use Beat, and we're gonna push forward just like we had a Reinhardt, and it takes Hot Streak off guard, and they end up winning that fight because of it.
Yeah, who needs a shield when you've got an overshield there? But Bulby now loses the Earth Shatter, and that might just be the death sentence here for Death Computer as they do lose members left, right, and center. Rose finds one on the back end, but having to roll away from the point is not going to do a whole lot for stopping this payload as it does roll on through. Just over 2 minutes remain here for Hot Streak as they desperately need to finish this map with time in the bank.
Yeah, and at this point, this is now a race against the clock here for Hot Streak. You need time to make sure you have a chance to keep winning this fight.
The Cowboys having a little bit of a duel here. Neither one going to find much for their troubles, and a standoff for the time being. Bulby goes down, and that clears the way for a big Earth Shatter from Lava. All the kills are pouring in here from a Hot Streak. It's going to come down to one last contest for Death Computer if they want to make this happen, but they're going to have to stream out of the spawn doors, and that is not an easy task. They're running right into Marshall. He's got the Meteor Strike. Can he find any value with it?
Oh my gosh, the stun on the Bulby there as a Meteor Strike was coming down was perfect. There's no way that Bulby dies a Meteor Strike otherwise, but still, Crows is in the back, getting so much damage on the back line, takes down Lep, and even though Bedtime Story is doing everything that he can to equalize here, the spawn advantages are going to go the favor of Death Computer. So now a minute on the clock, they have stabilized once again near the end here. It's very likely, considering how long that Hot Streak are going to need to set up here, this is very likely the last really good fight they're going to have. You have Diva Bomb and Deadeye and Ant Matrix for them, but Clover's gonna look to just end this early with the Ant Matrix, and Bedtime Story's down.
Yeah, absolutely no way to get out of that fight, and that's a brilliant play coming out from Death Computer. They completely catch Hot Streak off guard in that moment. Now Frosted going to get staggered out a little bit here, sent down into the pits of King's Row, and
there's no way you can cap with time anymore. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's pretty much done here, at least for the hopes of winning this map as far as Hot Streak is concerned. They've got to play for the tie now. If they finish the map, that is still a possibility, but it is a long shot at this point. They are pushing into a Meteor Strike and Earth Shatter for Bulby. He has yet to really hit a big one, but there he connects onto two Lava, and now Lep will fall, and things have just gone haywire here for Hot Streak on King's Row. They're not going to be able to finish the map. They're not going to be able to take their map pick, and Death Computer wrest control of the series away from Hot Streak.
Match point now for Death Computer. I'm not sure how many people had this team going into this matchup, just because the experience of people on Hot Streak cannot be understated. But Death Computer, thanks a lot to this guy right here, Salty on the Doomfist, they just couldn't find an answer to him. He was just in the middle of the fight all the time, punching people around, getting so much damage, so much disruption, and nothing that Hot Streak did over the course of that map was truly able to neutralize him. Bedtime Story was able to kill him a couple times on Cassidy, but more often than not, he still found a lot of value.
Most definitely, and like even when he wasn't necessarily finding kills, just the amount of attention that he draws to himself on the Doomfist opens up the rest of the map so much for his teammates. It's a really tremendous pick there on King's Row, and played to pretty much perfection there by Salty. As Death Computer, they grab this series by the horns and they take it for themselves. Now they'll need just one map to do it, and at the very least they're gonna have the opportunity to choose map number 5, so they are in the driver's seat at this point, and Hot Streak are now the ones who, on the back foot, have to kind of find an answer. King's Row and those brawl comps was not it.
No.
So let's see what they have left in their bag of tricks.
Yeah, Hot Streak, I think, don't go brawl map again. Rialto, not on the cards, right? You've got to try and keep things to where you have found the most success so far in this game. And as of right now, that's the Orisa comps, honestly. That's the one time here where I feel like Hot Streak has had a sizable advantage over Death Computer, is those kind of slow, either Orisa Diva or double shield compositions. You force Death Computer to play at a slower tempo. It's clear that they're not quite as comfortable in that kind of situation. They want to play aggro. They want to play more aggressive. So forcing them in a situation where they have to slow down is, I think, the optimal situation for Hot Streak here. The question is, do they recognize that? Because they seem very confident in their brawl. That's why they picked King's Row. But they ended up kind of getting played by it a little bit. Death Computer is going to ban Temple of Anubis, which I think is a very good choice. Hot Streak, that is a big potential map in Hot Streak's cool toolbox with how good Double Shield is on there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I really like. Hindsight is obviously 2020, but I feel like the pick previously probably should have been Temple of Anubis for Hot Streak. But obviously they felt comfortable with King's Row, and Salty threw in a wild
right?
card. Yeah, fair. Every team in the world is comfortable on King's Row, but Salty just kind of threw them for a loop with that Doomfist, and now they are gonna have to kind of dig a little bit deeper into the well here to try and figure out where they want to take us. I mean, they can't go to. There's no more hybrid maps on the table. Volskaya is the only assault map remaining in the pool. Rialto, we've already said, doesn't really feel like the best of choices for them given what we've seen so far, and the pool is getting a little bit thin here.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the. I'm trying to find the actual I can't remember which one it is.
They've got Volskaya, Rialto, and then Nepal, Lijiang, Oasis are their options at this point.
Yeah, it might be. Series. You might just want to choose a control map and just hope that you don't end up with that brawl variant again. Maybe Nepal of the three, because Busan has Mecha Base, which is extremely brawly. Lijiang has Control Center, which is extremely brawly. The brawliest map on Nepal is probably Village, but you can very easily get away with playing a more pokey comp in there as well. Even Sanctum, there's a lot of brawl that's played on that map, but it's not as hard locked as in like you have to play Reinhardt on this map or you're not playing it right. That would I think be my recommendation, or just go for Assault, go Volskaya. It's not as good as Anubis, but still you can make that double shield. And that is exactly what I say. It is going to be the Volskaya pick coming out from Hot Streak there. Man, I'm just so smart.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. We get the assault map anyways here, and I think it ultimately does make a lot of sense, because I don't think you're going to be seeing the brawl. At the very least, it feels like you know, if Death Computer are going to kind of continue to you know, go for some unorthodox comps or things, I mean, it's going to be the Wrecking Ball as kind of like the option here. I don't think we'll be seeing the Rhine or especially the Doomfist on this map, so they can at least, like, that's one less thing to have to worry about, to concern yourself with when you are facing elimination at this point. Like, we're in the lower bracket, and now it's match point here for Death Computer, so Hot Streak cannot afford any more slip-ups. It's going to be Volskaya where they try to make their stand, and we'll see what they can do here. Before we get into map number 4 here, I do just want to remind everybody at home, we've got the MVP poll running at this point. You know, the series is not over, so I can't blame you if you want to save your vote till the bitter end, find exactly who you think is most deserving. But, you know, players are already making their cases. You know, Salty putting his name in the running after that Kings Row map for sure, and you know, there's plenty of great options on both sides.
I've got to say, if Death Computer end up pulling it out, my vote would definitely have to be for one of the support players, Clover and Hanbei. They have showed some incredible game knowledge and just awareness of the situations that their team is in at all times, and when is like the best time to use their ultimates, just very dependent on the situation that they find themselves in at the moment. That kind of quick thinking is so quintessential in a good support player. And I gotta say, going up against established names like Micro and Lep, they have definitely held their own so far.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, Clover has been fantastic, especially on the last couple of maps here, as has been Hanbei, and you know, that's really always kind of the unheralded, you know, backbone of any great team is those supports and their ability to maintain the rest of the team, keep people alive. And you know, a lot of the kind of calling and the engagements definitely comes from Clover when you're talking about those Lucio speed boosts and finding the right timings to use that crucial ability for engages. And there on Kings Row, it was pretty impeccable between that and the sound barriers we saw. So I cannot fault you for that pick one bit at this point. But series still quite a bit of ways away from being over. Hot Streak are not ready to go down without a fight. This is a veteran team, as we've mentioned time and time again, so it's not like this is their first time in a situation like this. These are players I expect to respond to the challenge.
Yeah, 100%. There's no way that these guys have not had their backs against the wall in a series like this before, so there's no way that they are they're disheartened, the morale is down. These guys absolutely think that they can win this. And interestingly, made all that hype about Orisa-based comps, and both of them are currently showing the Wrecking Ball-based competitions. Now, it makes a lot of sense here on the attack for Hot Streak, but on the defense here, we're seeing Wrecking Ball from Bulby, Diva from Moving Fish. So it's kind of more reminiscent of Gibraltar right now than it was of Blizzard World, which is not good because Blizzard World is the one map that Hot Streak has won so far. So Gibraltar was close, but we need to see them be able to pull it out at the very end there. The members of Death Computer just came up clutch when they really needed to in that map.
Yeah, and you know, this is still very doable, and I like the composition that we see coming out from the side of Hot Streak. It's going to provide a lot of opportunities for kind of some aggressive rotations here, but Bedtime Story gets taken down immediately. Frosted falls off the map somehow. I have to imagine Bulby kind of was responsible for that or some weird accident, but either way, it is not the start that Hot Streak were looking for as they try to make this comeback.
And it took them a full minute to try and get around to the side there, get that rotation done, and it immediately ends up going off the side, quite literally in Frosted's case. But yeah, Bedtime Story gets an early Helix Rocket kill onto Hanbei, and without the defense matrix, this is now a huge opportunity for Hot Streak.
Oh, Lep goes over to the Lucio, and it allows them to engage incredibly aggressively with the speed boost. Now they've gotten a 2-for-1 advantage in terms of picks in this fight, but it's not over by any means at this point. Bulby and Moving Fish fighting back on the point. The two tanks combo together to engage really nicely there, and now Bedtime Story in a little bit of an awkward spot, does get the D-Mech, now using this tack visor to try and put some damage down onto Moving Fish, who's stuck separated from the rest of the squad right now. It's kills going both ways, but so far the defense has been able to kind of stabilize here. They've got a chance at least to fight back into this as Bulby comes in with the Transcendence backing him up. As very early from Hanbei, Rose somehow falls to their own Helix rocket. Salty doing the same thing with a pulse bomb, both DPS. Suicide there on the point, and with that, it's just going to be no chance for Death Computer to contest, and now they've got to avoid getting staggered here. They will get quick respawns, but still, this momentum is not the sign of success.
I think Death Computer tried way too hard to try and hold on to that. Now look, the rally, the mines, they are back up on the point, and Rose kills themselves again with the Helix rocket. These DPS have killed themselves more than other people in these last couple of minutes, and it has hurt them so much as the snowball potential is so real right now for Hot Streak.
I mean, it looks like they've got this in their grasp at the moment. Rose trying to get back in, but on the Cassidy, doesn't really have the mobility to try and make much happen to avoid the damage coming out. There is the sound barrier, the tack visor for Bedtime Story as well will seal the deal. And somehow, in one of the weirdest rounds of Volskaya I have ever watched, Hot Streak finished with nearly 4 minutes on the clock.
I mean, the snowball was just so big. I think Death Computer maybe got a little bit too loose with it. They were playing a little bit too aggressive here into a comp that was extremely aggressive in itself, especially when Lep swapped onto the Lucio. They were able to engage so incredibly quickly. Bedtime Story individually took out both supports on the side of Death Computer with 2 Helix rockets, and that allowed them to have the upper hand in a drawn-out fight that ended up going both ways. And then when it seemed like Hot Streak pretty much had point A locked up, Death Computer decided, you know, we're gonna try and use all of our ultimates and go in and try and keep this point to ourselves. And the ultimates didn't get anything. The members of Hot Streak did an incredible job of just being able to deal with the respawns and then get the stagger kills and snowball forward. And after what was looking pretty promising for Death Computer there on that defense, it fell apart so fast. And this is now a very good time here for Hot Streak, Death Computer. They're going to try and counter. Salty's on the Sombra, which is an interesting one. You're going to be playing around those hacks to get your engagements on, and of course the EMP, always one of the most impactful ultimates in the game.
Yes, but might have a little bit of difficulty finding tremendous value given how spread out we're just seeing the positioning from the side of Hot Streak for the time being. So we'll see if they can kind of corral them when the time comes to get some value out of that. But right now we are just seeing a little bit of poke coming out from both sides as Death Computer are going to be rotating around the back staircase to try and take this fight and try and, secure a bit of high ground control. Hanbei finding the opening pick. Now Lava in a spot of trouble here, gets stunned up, has the Discord on them, gets hacked up, but is surviving for the time being. It finally goes down, and Death Computer, despite a defense that fell apart a little bit, have responded well here, playing patiently and securing point A without much resistance.
Great stuff there from Death Computer there, just really recovering after that attack. They played that perfectly, going around to the back and attacking the really soft parts of this comp from Hot Streak, the squishier members, and Hanbei gotten so much damage in that. Has a Transcendence hump already, which is going to be perfect to deal with the tactical visor that Bedtime Story has gotten up. The ult banks are pretty even from both sides right now. I wouldn't say this is a imminent snowball opportunity, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah, Bedtime Story with a very strange tack visor here, I'm not gonna lie. there were really no targets in the immediate vicinity, and everybody else just kind of clears out. So a wasted DPS ultimate there now does give Bedtime Story a pretty distinct ult advantage going into this fight.
Yeah, now I'd say a snowball opportunity has arrived.
If they can find something with Salty, get that EMP to find some value, they definitely have a possibility of making something happen here. But Hanbei has to use the trans really quickly. Bedtime Story has fallen, and there's the EMP, cancels the Amp Matrix, shuts down Lava immediately, and now they're collapsing in onto Lep. The Baptiste has escaped for the time being, in a safe position to try and lay in some healing, but every member of Death Computer still in the fight for the time being. Now it's all about trying to secure these kills. The self-destruct clears out the mines, and Bulby drops down a set of his own on the point to try and secure this one. The Brigida's going at it now. Bulby finds 2 picks. Everything going right here for Death Computer, and they might just be able to match the time bank of Hot Streak if they can keep these picks going.
Yeah, now with just 3 seconds left, but now the Doomfist is back up for Bedtime Story. He gets hacked up, taken out immediately. It's just a couple of stragglers here, as now Death Computer has a lesser time bank than Hot Streak, but man, it is hardly going to matter right now as the stagger picks just go overwhelmingly towards Death Computer here. And with just 15 seconds of extra time, Hot Streak falls there on the snowball potential. So, Shy Guy, it looks like it might be one of those Volskaya games.
Yes, indeed. It makes me not really nostalgic, but a little bit nostalgic for the old days when we didn't, rush our time banks down to 2 minutes after the first round, when we could have seen, 3 or 4 rounds of attacks going on a map like this. Unlikely, given the...
It can still happen.
It's possible. I'm not saying it's out of the question. If both teams cap again, we'll run it back one more time here. But, this, especially if they do it like they just did, both teams wasting no time here on Volskaya. And for Death Computer, that is just kind of a shot of confidence, given how badly the defense went. You have to imagine they'll do better the next time around, and they didn't put up, or they didn't run into much resistance from Hot Streak on their attack. So I really feel like this is kind of favoring Death Computer, but Hot Streak going in a different direction with their comp this time around. There's the Orisa for Lava, the Torbjorn out from Bedtime Story. This is a completely different look from what we have seen from them throughout the series and on this map. So will they be able to use this to effectively shut down this very mobile composition of Death Computer?
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to be pushing up really fast and really early here. Bulby taken a little bit off guard, is going to be forced to back up, and that prompts a swap now. Salty is going to be on the Echo, taking the Torb turret out from the sky, and I actually really like this. Bedtime Story and Marshall on Torb and Tracer, respectively, don't have very good tools to be able to deal with a flying DPS. Salty is sure to get a ton of value out of this Echo here from the sky, but you do have one hit scan on your team in the form of Lep, so Salty gets taken down.
Unfortunately, though, Lep will fall to Rose in the backline and the res. We're in an even situation here at the moment, but I think that's going to tend to favor Death Computer at the moment, given that they can start taking up positions all around this point, surrounding the members of Hot Streak and moving in from there. Salty up in the sky, putting in a lot of damage at the moment, finding those mines. There's a really early Transcendence out from Hanbei, and they're going to use that to push forward right on top of Lava. No way for the Orisa to get out of that fight, and now once again Hot Streak have let point A slip through their grasp.
Yeah, that is so huge here from Death Computer here, just to be able to take point A. You open things up for you to win this map and potentially the entire series if you can hold. But now you're going to have about 35 seconds on the clock to try and get something done here on point B. Getting even a tick would be so massive in this situation, but the ultimates on the side of Hot Streak are brutal. Everyone has 80% or higher. We're likely to see six ults coming out from them, and while there's 4 on the side of Death Computer, still dealing with a team where all 6 of them press Q at the same time is almost impossible.
Yeah, but that Ammatrix is a little early. They're just going to be able to wait that one out. The Molten Core as well, kind of not really getting a tremendous amount done other than some zoning.
Dies to that?
The bombs trade kills, and somehow Death Computer are doing this. Bolby is in the fight, throws down the mines. There's the duplicated bomb on the point, is going to deal with the shield of Micro, but finally the kills are starting to come in here for the side of Hot Streak. It's very close to a single tick, but the bodies are on the point for the defenders, and it got scary there for a moment, but they stop the bleeding. They don't let Death Computer get any progress on point C.
That was almost a critical mistake there from Lava. Moving Fish just dropped the Diva Bomb right in front of his face, right behind the Orisa shield. And apparently the corner that he went to hide behind wasn't enough to remove line of sight. So losing your Orisa there very nearly gave up a tick. But now, it now just comes down to this defense here. Or no, sorry, this attack here for Hot Streak. 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock. Let's lay down the stakes once again. If we can get a hold here, a full hold from Death Computer, that's it. We're done. They win 3-1. If they can take point A, then we are at the very least going to get a map 5. Now, what state will be depends on if they can get a tick on point B again. In which case, if they can get a tick, then we're going to be going to map 5, where things are definitely going to be ending. Or we're going to be going to map 5 at a tie game. We're going to be at 2-1, and map 6 will be on the table, which would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is as tense as it really gets in a match of Overwatch right now. It's do or die here for Hot Streak. This point is their last chance in this tournament. They cannot afford to be stonewalled here, and they're going to be going for the Orisa on the attack this time. Despite the success they had with the Wrecking Ball the first time around, they're still going to swap things up, play this very slow style, and they lose the story. Hanbei once again somehow always manages to do it, but this time left out to dry by the rest of the team as Frosted dives in for the kill, will lose their mech for the trouble there, and eventually falls as well. So despite losing Hanbei, the trade winds up being worth it here for Death Computer, as they do come out on top in this fight and force Hot Streak back.
Hot Streak forced back, and now you're pretty much trying to look to Marshall here and Left to get something out of their ultimates. They're both at 70% plus, and at this point, those might be the only 2 ultimates you get with 1 minute and 5 seconds left on the clock. This is a very slow composition from Hot Streak. It's going to take them a minute to get set up in the way that they want to. So this might be the last really good fight here, as, oh no, Bedtime Story's been converged upon by Salty and Bolby and gets taken down.
Once again, the soldier out first in this fight, and now Lava just kind of stranded on the point for the moment, is going to be on the retreat, but Marshall falling as well there. The kills are all going in the direction of Death Computer. 30 seconds left. Hot Streak needs to get out of there. They need to try and retreat, but they're not really going to be able to do so. They'll have one last chance. Some ultimates in the bag from both DPS, from Lava, but they're going to be walking right into an EMP.
This is going to get explosive. Everything except the Ant Matrix will probably be up here for Hot Streak. And with the game on the line here, they're going to be using all of it. But EMP, Bob, Mines, Diva Bomb, Transcendence, that's all going to be available for Death Computer. There's going to be fireworks here.
Okay, what can Salty find with this EMP? There's the early tack visor out from Bedtime Story. The EMP lands onto 3, the bomb in over the top, but they're able to just duck inside of the small room, but they've been stuck, and they don't get on the point. For the
Again?
second time this series, hot streak.
Come on, guys!
Oh, pain, pain, pain.
They've literally C9'd in 3 of the 4 maps. I can't defend this. I simply can't defend this from Hot Streak. They had the kills were going the way of Death Computer, sure. But man, you should have at least fought that out. That's so unfortunate. And with that, Death Computer, hats off to these guys though. A fairly unknown team going into the Star Esports All-Star Brawl have now taken out a very recognizable team in Hot Streak, and they're going to move on to the next round of losers bracket to face a truly formidable opponent in Best Buds.
Certainly, and given what we just saw out of Death Computer, that is must-see Overwatch. I am blown away by just how impressive this team was. It didn't really matter the composition that they were running throughout the series. They showed us that they are capable of doing it all. They basically play Hot Streak to a standstill on their favored Orisa compositions. When it comes to the dive and the Wrecking Ball looks, they win out on Gibraltar. When it comes down to Brawl, they dominated King's Row and Volskaya as well. They close it out in the clutch. So just an all-around showing here from Death Computer. They've got to be incredibly happy with what they were able to do tonight. And as we come to a close of this series, one last reminder: go vote now for your MVP.
It's gonna happen now, or it's not gonna happen.
I mean, I was on the fence before that final map, but I think I have fully come around to your way of thinking. Hanbei was just exceptional on the Zenyatta.
Yeah, Hanbei came up huge so often for this team. I also got to give a shout out to Bolby. Wasn't necessarily the most explosive member of Death Computer, but you need like a fearless, steady leader at that main tank, and I think Bolby filled that extremely well. I think, people come back to this game, they're gonna say, oh, well, Hot Streak was playing with a team of like half ringers. They weren't used to playing together as much. They weren't as together, but still, the players that they had, Lava, Lep, these guys are extremely well respected in the Tier 3 community, and Death Computer definitely took it to them. And I think because of the leadership of someone like Bolby, who has had experience in the Tier 3 community before, that was a big reason why they were able to sort of stick together through what was some pretty tough fights.
Absolutely. I mean, I really have to kind of take my hat off to Bolby's Wrecking Ball in particular. I think at times they were a little shaky on the Rhine, the Orisa, potentially, but when they were on that Wrecking Ball, the coordination with the DPS was really fantastic in the way that they were able to kind of isolate targets and find opportunities. So just a tremendous performance all around here from the side of Death Computer. And, as we turn towards that MVP poll, it's not going to be Bolby. It's not going to be either of the supports. It's not even going to be Salty with the Doomfist play. Instead, it's going to be the other tank. Coming to join us now is Moving Fish, and we are so happy to welcome them to the broadcast. Moving Fish, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats. First of all, going into this game, you're going up against Hot Streak, an extremely well-respected team of veteran players. Did you guys have any special? Did you guys do anything special to try and prepare for this match?
So we worked on our brawl a little bit because it's definitely a worse comp, and like Salty, he's a Doom TP, so like we had to like play off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, based on that King's Row, I wouldn't have guessed that Brawl was your worst comp. You took it to him. The members of Hot Streak, they were playing with a team that was, like, it wasn't necessarily their usual lineup. They had a couple ringers in there. Was there anyone in there that sort of took you off guard?
I was very surprised when I found out they replaced half their roster. I was confused. But, like, it still went by smooth. So
True.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you think you were able to kind of exploit any particular like weaknesses throughout this series? Was there anything that you guys were kind of like saw maybe in map number 1 that you were able to kind of hone in on the other maps?
I guess like in general, like we had to like teach ourselves like we had to. Sorry, I can't speak. We had to adapt. We had to play more aggressive because like I don't know, we kind of just letting them walk over us.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about kind of specifically the off tank matchup. I mean, you're going up against Frosted, and like we saw on map number 1, especially like the Sigma was really popping off for them. But you I think really kind of came along in this series and started to find your footing as it went further and further. So how did you kind of find your confidence and your play as the series went along?
Well, I guess for first map, like I kind of got diffed, so I'm like, okay, like I can't let that happen again. So yeah, I had to like wrap it up. I guess like, I had to start playing well.
All right, looking forward to the future now. Your win today has set you up into a losers bracket elimination match between you guys and the best buds. What do you think initially about that matchup? How do you think about your chances?
I'm really excited to play against them. I think we have a really good like shot.
Awesome. And last thing, before we let you go, is there anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug while you're here on the stream?
I guess shout out to Rose. Like he's kind of like a Widow OTP, but like I don't know, like he didn't see much Widow here, so like, he did well on it really.
Yeah, the whole team popped off here tonight, and you especially getting the viewers MVP after that match. Once again, huge congrats for the victory here tonight, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And that is going to do it for us here for our first half of the day. Death Computer taking down a Hot Streak 3-1. Hot Streak, thank you so much for participating in Star Esports. We hope to see you back in a future tournament, but this time around it is Death Computer that moves on.
Certainly, and we'll be looking forward to their matchup up against Best Buds in the next round of the lower bracket. For now, though, Dividing and I have to bid you adieu as we step away from the broadcast, as our second match is just about ready to come online. We've got University of St. Thomas taking on Cracked Cats, and that should be another incredible matchup. Marks and Skooky going to be taking over on the mics here to take us home tonight. But this was a thrilling way to kick off the night, and I hope that they can continue to get some incredible Overwatch, as we always hope for here at Star Esports. Once again, thank you to everyone for joining us. As always, go subscribe, follow on Twitch, YouTube, join the Discord, follow us on Twitter, all that good junk. You know the deal. You can find all the info down below. But we'll be stepping away for a quick break, and then the All-Star Brawl 7 will be right back.
Bye!